It doesn't matter what you go through. No one can avoid trouble. No one lives a life free of pain, bad luck, or hard work, and when you do that, no, it will never be about what happens to you but what you do with it. So, it's not the event itself. It is the answer, not the problem itself, but how to get around it. Not the wave itself, but the ability to use it to get somewhere better. It's not what you go through. What happens to you doesn't matter as much as what you do about it. Marcus Aurelius, a famous Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, said that you control your mind, not what happens outside of it. If you realize this, you will find strength. And I think this realization comes down to the fact that there is always a way, something powerful to use, hidden beneath everything. But rewiring is needed to get to the value. A change in the way we ask questions. Not, why did this have to happen to me? But how can what happened to me make me better tomorrow than I am now? Not, can I still be that person? Can I still reach my goals? But I have become that person. How should I change my path to get there? We work in a world with a lot of value and a lot of opportunities. The difficulty just speeds up the process of getting to that value. It makes us wake up and realize that the world is for us. So, let's say you're afraid of starting something new. This fear doesn't have to be a dead end or a warning sign. Fear doesn't mean that you aren't ready, qualified, or equipped. It just lets you know that you finally have the courage to leave the safety of the only world you've ever known and step into the chaos of growth on the way to something better. It's easy to forget that feeling, though. To leave the chaos behind and go back to something simpler. Maybe something that's easier to plan or control. What if you thought of your fear as the price we all have to pay to see the best things that life has to offer? The question has been changed from, will I be afraid? Instead, this is important, this matters. Because of this, I can't help but feel afraid. But what am I going to do? How will I act in the face of my fear? Will I keep on going? Those are the questions that are most important. Right? I can't stop the walls from falling down or the water from rising. No, that will happen no matter where I go. There is always trouble on the path to something good. But will I learn to swim in that water? Where to start climbing? To change and grow? What should I think about this? What makes the difference is how you answer that question. And yes, you could stay away. You could choose not to go down the path that is dangerous and has a lot of trouble. You can try to keep the world around you in check by not letting yourself experience it. But then, of course, you have to answer the question. Why didn't the winner of the lottery cash in their ticket? Do I take away from your gift in this way? If you don't look at it, it's what you see that makes me think of the world as an enemy. Why think you're not as good as you are? As the saying goes, you get to keep your limits if you fight for them. You can never be better than the person you've chosen to be. And yes, the whole world can be scary. No one knows. In a lot of ways, you can't change the things that make life what it is. But you're always in charge, you. You can't stop the wind, either. But you can adjust your sails. You can't make the tides change. But you can predict, plan, and act based on what you know. You control you. And there lies the power. And of course, that can be hard to see when it's not your first thought to look for the value. Take a change or a loss as an example. When a relationship is over, people tend to feel their worst at this point. When you have something and then lose it, it hurts. To have doubts about something you used to be sure of. What you used to believe is put into doubt. But this doesn't need to be a vote on who you are as a person. You've made mistakes, But you can either keep thinking about them or admit them and ask the question, what I know now is what I know. How can I become better than I have ever been? How can I set myself up to get more good things and less bad things? Same idea, different context. When it seems like those walls are falling down, you have to remember that there is more on the other side, just outside of what you can see. This isn't just a thought I have in my head. Every time something goes wrong, I try hard to keep this in mind. When my first feeling is an emotional one, it's usually anger or frustration. It means to take a deep breath, calm down, and look for the value. Because here's what's real. The end of the world won't happen today. There will come a time when I look back over my shoulder and today seems like a long time ago. What am I going to do with it? And the times that could have broken you are the ones that changed you the most. I like to say that the worst things that happened to me and the hardest times in my life made me who I am now. I learned from the losses that I had everything I needed. The failures showed me how much I could handle. The times I was let down taught me not to take other people's flaws personally, but also to protect myself against them. When I couldn't find my way, it showed me that we can only find out who we are or reach our full potential when we leave the little worlds we make for ourselves every day. Why? We don't have control over the outside world, but we do have control over ourselves, and that ends up being a bridge to a meaningful reality. So if you're standing at the bottom of a mountain and looking up, realize there are two ways to look at the climb. You can see it as the weight of the world pulling you down, or as a chance to rise to a version of yourself that not only didn't exist before, but wasn't even possible. This is the chance for you. The same chance that most people would ignore or misunderstand. Most people would be scared of it and decide not to take it. Most people would spend their lives telling stories about who they aren't and what they can't do. Not you though. You didn't put that mountain in front of you, but you can get something out of it. You just have to decide that you can do it and that the meaning, value, and freedom of tomorrow are more important to you than the discomfort of today. If you let yourself do that, you will become impossible to stop. Not because the path got easier or simpler, but because the traveler believed he could walk it.